Good afternoon, everyone, and namaste. Welcome to EduTV. And on behalf of EduTV, Pranav and Tanya and everyone else who have been supporting this educational channel, which has been supporting all of us in the education community to just grow day by day and to understand what is going on in our life and how to be it technology, be it branding, be it trainings. You just see everywhere educational TV, EduTV is supporting us. And during COVID times, Pranav and his team, Tanya and all others, the part of his team, have left no stone unturned to visit any city or any country, and just seeing that all of us come to this platform and discuss our view and find some solution, because there is no permanent solution. And with that, the idea which they have come up with today is inviting parents. That's one of the best ideas and very much required today. And I wish all the parents that everything will be fine. But let us see what parents have to say, because we have been debating and discussing on different platforms, on different chat groups and different webinars about how teachers have to go forward, how management has to go forward, how CBSE and different boards have to go forward. So welcome parents on board, where we would like to know from you what's in your mind and what questions do you want to put across. We have some eminent people who will be answering your questions. Ms. Jyoti Arora, who is principal and founder of Mount Abu Public School, which is in Rohini, one of the best schools in Delhi. And she's also related to all the work with CBSE. She has got many hats to wear. So if I start counting her accomplishments, I think we'll spend 20 minutes. We have Subhendu Sarkarji, who has been principal with KC Public School, Jammu for almost 15 years and carries a tremendous experience plus a lot of in-depth knowledge of addressing your problems. We have with us Dr. Kuldeep Singh. Dr. Kuldeep Singh is from AIMS Jodhpur. So let's start with Jyoti ji.
Good morning, everybody, and I'm Jyoti. I'm from Bangalore, DPSC City, and my daughter is studying in class 9. Now, I have a question to the panel. Like now, this is a tough time, and now we all, as parents, as teachers, or anybody around, we are trying to adjust to the new normal. So, if at all the teachers are trying hard and working overnight, and children are also putting in their effort to learn through online sessions, because that's the only way out now. So why are there few channels which are trying to stop the learning sessions? I don't understand why there is a no. I don't understand the no, because somewhere down the line this show has to go on, and the online sessions are the only way out, which I feel so. Whether it is online, offline, pre-recorded, but something has to happen, right? We can't make the child sit idle and say everything, let it go as it is. So I need, like, I am for online teaching. So I need anybody else's answer if anybody else is not in this, and why is it not being accepted?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, EduTV, for having me on the board here. And Jyoti ji, you well said that this is a time of uncertainty. You know, the world is going through a very unprecedented times, and lots of uncertainty and question mark is all around of each one of us, and every one of us are fighting with the same question mark: what will happen next? When the things will improve? When the things will get normal? But at the same time, one thing is very sure, that we have already entered into a new kind of world wherein we have to practice many new things. So that's why this new normal has become a buzzword. So for that, this online teaching, though it was already there in the system, but we never practiced. We never trained our teachers in the way they are handling the technology now, because that time it was just a secondary kind of opportunity available, a secondary kind of option available in the schools. Now it has become the primary requirement. So we have to continue with this. You rightly said that we have to go on like this maybe for another 3-4 months, even if we go back whenever the directives will come from the government side, whenever we receive proper information. But whenever we go back, it's going to be a blended form of teaching learning. You know, at the time when this lockdown was announced, all sudden, the greatest challenge was how to continue with this learning process, because keeping students, children into learning process was the biggest challenge in front of each one of us. And many thanks to this technology for supporting us a lot. And the way teachers adapted technology is fabulous, marvelous, and they deserve all sincere appreciations. It was, trust me, it was like getting the training in the late evening and experiencing it more in the morning with the students. And the way this adaptability was seen in teaching community is outstanding, applaudable. And the learning could continue. Now it's another question mark, when will we go back to our schools and what will happen. For that though, we have to simply look forward to the directions of our government. And trust me, all these policy makers, all these people whosoever is involved into making the decisions, when it comes to the safety of the child, everyone is highly concerned and serious about it. So once we go back, but then also why not to continue with this technology, because we have already invested 3-4 months into this, and government is taking it in a very, very serious manner. You look at the way our Prime Minister has announced the opening of 12 channels, one per class. And that's a good initiative, because when it comes to technology, we have to take care of each and every student of the country into our mind. There are deep rural areas where the net connectivity is very low. But at the same time, through regional channels, through these kind of channels, through other kind of modes, it is being ensured that through technology, the learning is reaching to each and every child of the country. So that's the necessity of the hour now, and we have to simply adapt it. We have to simply accept it. And there are fruitful results of having technology into our teaching learning process. We all have been experiencing. You as a mother must have seen so many things, because especially I'm very happy with this technology, because it has given us space to experience life skills through our teaching learning process, which never used to happen in a routine schooling. Though it is always a fixed period, there is a fixed class, but this needs to be experienced. And the children are getting into this, children are taking the best of
Jyoti,
advantage.
here I would like to ask you, Jyoti. Jyoti ji is asking that why 9th standard and other, there are like, she's from Karnataka, if I say so. Her question is that why is other outside school body interfering in teaching online? Why do you think that everybody else should be having a say of not to teach online? Like if the parent is ready, if the school is ready, so why are people not ready? So what is the answer for that?
I think the government in Karnataka specifically need to relook into their decision, because ultimately this is the technology and creativity which is going to continue with the learning process, and they really need to revisit, relook into. I'm answering this in a very bold manner, because as a head of the school, I also don't find any other alternative to get connect with my students, parents, teachers, other than the technology. And trust me, online classes are going on in a very, very fruitful manner. It's not simply I watch the way the statements are coming from some of the parents that online classes have no use. Online classes are really helping a lot to everyone associated with this education sector, and it should continue. It should very much continue. And the government really needs to look into.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think Jyoti ji has answered it so well, and not only answered, she's added a few more points that how technology is blending and helping us to move forward. What I request, and I'll add to it, that if you could, in the respective school, wherever she is, DPS or wherever, if a little bit of, and already there are a lot of petitions and a Twitter petition and all this is going on, and I'm sure something will work out and things will be better, because there are always two sides of the coin. Some say yes, some say no. So we are all the time talking about the way forward. So thank you, Jyoti ji. Now my next question, I want Mother Manjeet Kaur, yes.
Afternoon all. This is Manpreet, mother of Naisha Kaur. Okay, so what I wanted to know was that despite the resistance offered by some of the parents who still feel that this technology is not, too suitable for them for their own reasons, like they're not tech savvy or whatever, I still would want to know if we ever plan of reopening schools, how safe would it be for us to reopen those schools, and what measures could be taken for the same? Can there be a hybrid system or a blended type of system which Jyoti ma'am referred to? Will it be safe? Can we do it? Is it possible or feasible in the upcoming months?
So I would like that Jyoti ji and all the three panelists who are here to take on this question and give your opinion at least in two points.
Uh, Mandeep Kaurji, you rightly said that this is the time when some of the parents are quite resistant in accepting this online teaching. But we really need to understand one thing. This is very unprecedented time. Happens after 100 years. So this is the time when we should look forward for a solution. We should not go back to the problem. Now, when we have a situation in front of us and wherein we look at technology only as a solution, as a supplement to all our problems, then why not to accept it? And second, I spoke about creating positivity around. So accepting technology into teaching is also like accepting it in a very, very positive manner. You are a parent, you must have seen your daughter taking online classes. Don't you feel as a mother that at least the child is in learning mode? The child is every day in connection with her teachers, her school, and so many events we are doing online. There is no loss. Trust me, since the day we started with our new session, all our events are happening online. And many times I feel that conducting these events online is far better than what we used to conduct in the physical mode. So to my understanding, this is really helping a lot. And second, it is going to a blended form of learning from now onwards. Two reasons. Abhi, it will take lots of time to go back to the normal kind of things. Maybe, I don't know how many years will it take. And secondly, by the time teachers have gone used to of using this virtual mode of teaching learning, and now they are fully trained, they can handle this very well, and children are also enjoying. There are many things which they are proving to be better than doing it through this virtual mode instead of doing it in physical mode.
Thank you so much, Jyoti.
Thank you.
What about Upendra Sarkarji? Would you like to address Manjeetji's question? Because Jyoti has put it across so well that she said this is the new normal, we have to live with it. And till the time we think about opening schools, just be in the present moment. Just be with the present. Just whatever is going on, be there right now. Let these dynamic leaders decide what's going to go future, because they are already working day and night. As she said, parents be rest assured that whatever will happen will be in the best of the interest. So leave that command to the management and the directors and principals of the school. Parents live in the moment. What about Dr. Sarkar? Would you like to just highlight a little bit more about what you feel about
Sure. Thank you, EduTV. Thank you, Sukul ma'am. And thank you, Manjeet ji, for your question. If I may have to paint out a picture before you as to the situation ahead of us, we see that the situation of reopening of schools in the near future, if I may have to say July, is really dicey. Because of the rise in COVID cases is very high in India right now. After August 15th, we might get some positive pictures around of reopening the schools. But again, reopening of the schools will not be like the older reopening of the schools, where the bells will ring, wherein all the students will rush into the schools with all buzzing around. That won't happen right now. It will have to be in parts and phased out. It has to be in parts. Firstly, the number of students have to be very limited. The number of students coming to the schools have to be very limited. That is why the NCERT has prescribed about, the number of days of classes to be attended by the various classes. The minimum being the primary classes and the maximum being the board classes of 9 to 12. So in the new situation, attendance has to be taken care of with not much of crowding around. Second thing which has to be taken care of is health and hygiene. All the schools have planned how to manage their health and hygiene, how to create social distancing. I would say physical distancing, if not social distancing. I am always against the term social distancing. I would say physical distancing has to be maintained and will be carried on. And schools are in the process of doing so. Regarding the technology which we are using, I must say that it's a new exploration. It's a new way India has tread its path on. And it's a beautiful thing in which, in such dreadful situation, we have been able to connect with our students, our teachers, our parents in the most meaningful way, and we are educating them. We are carrying on with the classes, keeping themselves engaged, keeping our teachers engaged, keeping our students engaged, and enlightening our parents also, and giving them a chance to be a part of the teaching learning process, otherwise which was missed out
Yeah,
on a large
absolutely.
scale, which was missed out on a large scale. I think all the parents must have appreciated the effort of the teachers who are working day in and day out to make this new kind of a situation most productive and most effective to your students.
Welcome, Vivek Vaswani ji. So, and it's so great to know that you've joined our industry, and we feel privileged that more and more people are joining education industry. And more than that, I'm so happy that I'm to share the same space with you. And please, we would like Dhruv Sethi, St. Thomas Dwarka School.
So basically, the kids are feeling a little bit insecure or depressed because we are spending maximum time with them, but then due to this staying at home for so long and not going outside at all, so it is also causing a sense of insecurity. So can you share some tips so that we can help them with this situation? Because this seems to be a never-ending kind of a situation. 3 months have already been passed.
So, thank you. Thank you, Pranav, for inviting me. Pranav always invites me. Unfortunately, we are so bogged down with work that I find very limited time. In fact, I have another 3 seminars, webinars today itself. So I want to break this answer up into 3 parts. What we did in my institute, what we are going to do in the future, and what I think and what I do about it personally, so that you are very clear what is the role of the institution as well as what is the role of the individual dean, principal or faculty. On the 13th of March, we shut down all our campuses at Pearl. I must tell you that I'm the dean of the School of Contemporary Media at Pearl Academy. We shut down the Delhi campuses, the Jaipur campus, the Bombay campus, the Noida campus. We were in the process of setting up a Bangalore and a Kolkata campus, and they were all shut down. We had a meeting that day, everybody, all the schools, all the deans, all the heads of departments, all the faculty. We chose a platform called Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. We created shells. In the real world, we would call them classrooms. But we created shells and we gave every single child a password so that from the 16th, they were back to school, no breaks. 8:30 to 4, they would put in their passwords, we would get their attendance, and they would start working online with our faculty. We struggled with it because sometimes at the first few days, sir, the network is not working. Sir, I have no privacy. Sir, I cannot see the teacher. All the drama happened. We persevered and we succeeded in actually going ahead and making sure that we got an average 90% attendance from all our students, which is quite a record. We were not even getting that much when we were there in real time. The teachers were nimble. The teachers were agile. The teachers quickly got their whole act together. Certain things could not be done like practicals, where you need a media lab or you need a studio or you need actual practical industry experience. Apart from that, we went on exactly as if every single day was a proper school day, a proper college day. There were no breaks. Attendance settled down. Faculty got their second wind. We as deans, and I teach as well, so we were teaching till 4, then there were academic governance meetings, there were catch-up meetings, We were talking with managing council. It became 15 hours a day of work, but the faculty was magnificent. We went through our juries. The juries were finished. Then all the assessments were sent to our external examiners. They have given us a flying colors wala report. And today, the entire lot of our students is on vacation, exactly as if they would have been if the campus had not shut down. Now, I mean, today when we look back and I talk to my president, Nandita Abraham, and I discussed with the faculty, even I don't know how we did it, but we did it. There was not a single day of learning or teaching missed out. In the future, let me tell you what we've done. We start online on the 1st of July with our new intake. We start with what is called a pre-semester learning experience, because we don't want the children to sit at home unemployed, ungainfully wasting their time, getting into bad habits like waking up late, sleeping late, being glued to the television, watching Netflix. So we are starting them off well before their real semester starts on the 1st of September. We are starting them with what is called the pre-semester learning experience. Now, in the pre-semester learning experience, we've created 4 or 5 modules. One module, of course, is simple courses from Coursera, where we have the licenses so that they can do those courses even while they prepare to start a new semester. Basic foundation courses, things that they would not find difficult, but would find very engaging. I have personally worked out what we call Around the World in 60 Days, where I'm talking to industry experts. I've requested friends like Meera Nair, Ravina Tandon, Rajiv Masand, Ashwin Sanghi, the international best-selling author, to come and talk to them about things like preservation, innovation, collaboration, industry success, failure, etc., etc., etc. So that's going to be another engaging module. The third module we have is classes which are going to be taken by experts from history, which is going to be very interesting. We're doing that with AI and VR. We're also doing semester introduction, so they get to meet their faculty, they get to meet they start bonding and make friends with those who are going to be their future schoolmates. Right from the 1st of July, we are keeping them engaged. On the 1st of September, they will start their regular semester exactly on time as it was meant to, but it will be online for the next 6 weeks. Now that we have become experts at teaching them on Blackboard and mentoring them on Blackboard and understanding the problems, I don't see any problem in doing an enhanced online learning experience. In this process, what we've done is we've identified what we call home kits. So my School of Media people, we're telling them what kind of editing softwares to download on their computers. Those who can, we're telling them buy a camera, we're telling them buy selfie sticks so that they can do photography at home. I think the School of Fashion is arranging for sewing machines and model dummies, where they can do their pattern making, scissors, etc. We're giving them home kits. So while they're sitting on Blackboard and actually learning, they've got their lab in their house in front of them. And hopefully by the 1st of October or the 15th of October, we're expecting that we will set up our campuses. And I personally think that it's the only way today, because in the post-millennium era, these children are not children. They are young adults from the age of 10. They are young adults from the age of 12. They know more than their parents. They are going to get rid of all the conventions and the traditions because they have not been taught by you or their grandparents.
Yeah, I would just like to ask you, Vivekji.
Yeah.
So well explained about what you're doing in your campus, and I'm sure like while you were speaking, I was getting into that campus mode, and I could understand that the children in your campus will be so secure. Coming back to the point which he said, Sir Dhruv's parents said that we are talking about children who are already in the teenage or something. What about the children who are in school and they are feeling depressed? So any suggestions would you like to give?
I was saying that these children have not been taught by their parents or their grandparents.
Yeah.
They've not been brought up on the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. They've been brought up on the internet and Google. They already know more than their parents. You can't get into arguments with these children. They do not argue back. They press 3 buttons on their phone and they come back and say, see, this is where you're wrong. This is the right thing. These are children that you cannot teach the height of Mount Everest to. That's on Google. You have to teach them how to climb Mount Everest, and that is not on Google. So the first thing out of 3 steps is talk to them, but do not talk at them. Admit to yourself as parents, you do not know anything. Learn from them. Absorb them. Even if they are wrong, at least you will be opening a channel of communication which is very, very valuable to the child. His distance, his boredom, his apathy is only due to the fact that he has nothing to do, and he has nothing to do because even though you're at home and he is at home, you're not getting into 16, 17, 18 hours of conversation about the world. You are steeped in your tradition. You want to talk about certain things. He knows certain other things. That is definitely, in my days, we used to call it generation gap. Today, I call it the Google gap. So I would first say, rule number 1, talk with them. Rule number 2, and this is the most crucial rule of the 3, listen to them. A lot of times they are right and they know better because they've been brought up with this since they were born. But we try to say, no, what nonsense, you don't know this just because you have a mera baap banne ki koshish mat karo, but hai already. Now it is up to you to make sure that your child thrives in an environment of knowledge and in an environment of more than knowledge, communication. You know, when a lot of parents are already doing a lot of shared thing with the children. The girls are going into the kitchen. The boys are going into the kitchen and cooking with their mothers and their fathers. Some of them are playing board games together like Monopoly or Scrabble, even chess. Some of them are sitting and playing PlayStation together, eating together after a long time because everyone is at home. But those are things that you take for granted already in a household. What is it that you can go beyond? You have to be the substitute for their friends. You have to be the substitute for their companions whom they miss. You have to be the substitute for the bus stop. You have to be the substitute for the club. You have to be the substitute for the multiplex. You have to be the substitute for Cafe Coffee Day and Starbucks. You have to be the substitute for every single thing that they were doing without you. And once you get into that parameter of communication, that's when you can argue with them and they will listen to you and argue back. It will not be one-sided, you better listen to me or else, on your side or on the child's side, where the child then starts hearing you but definitely not listening, because you're never going to take this away from him. You're never going to take the laptop away from him.
Absolutely correct.
You know, now if you are going to choose that his smartphone and his laptop is going to be his best friend instead of you,
absolutely,
that is the choice that you have made. It's
so
not
I think
the choice he has made.
I think he's got the absolutely correct answer, that how beautifully parenting can be done sitting at home. And thank you, Vivek ji. It's not only the insight of the school you have given us insight of the teenage. So parents who are watching and who are watching with teenage children also can get a deep insight of how the schools are working and how to address the queries of children who are depressed. Like the word depressed is being used, which should not be used, because depressed is a very deep.
No, but I must tell you one thing. They are depressed because Google doesn't give them nice news all the time.
Yeah.
Google gives them fake news. Sushant Singh has died. He's committed suicide. He was clinically depressed. He did not take his medicine. But suddenly the whole of social media has exploded into gangs and groups. Boycott this.
Absolutely.
Kill him. This is going into the child's head because that phone is his best friend. The moment he lets that be and makes you his best friend.
Why not, let's see what, since we have got this question about what's going on in children's head when such things, one depressed news comes to them and Google is all the time pouring with this. So there's a question from Elsa Robin. So this question is particularly, Dr. Kuldeep, if very important that the word depression has come and then it has suddenly come and you are there to address, and even I want an answer for that, because we have always been said that don't use this word with children, and now suddenly this word is overpowering us in all social medias, whether it is a standard 6 child to the standard 20-year-old, they're all having different thoughts about it. So we would like you to just let us know what is the way ahead of balancing our children and telling them that how to be that mindful and mentally stable at this time. We would like to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me a opportunity. It was very wonderful listening to Mr. Vivek Vaswani about his ideas as a dean of the institute. At a medical institute, we are seeing daily patients, a lot of patients. They are sick also, they are on ventilators. In our hospital also, around 100 patients are still with the positive, corona positive, are admitted. And now what we are what we are learning is that the best teacher which we have ever come across is corona. Corona has been a very wonderful teacher, because the teacher's responsibility is not limited to the academics, but it is the behavior changes. And I think corona has taught us so much things which we have never learned in the last 100 years, about the hygiene, personal hygiene, about the physical distancing, about how to care for the family members. So what we are concerned, right, we are listening to the most of the parents' questions, and they are more concerned, and also we are also concerned about the safety of the student. That is the first and foremost. But what in our experience we have seen that there is only a subset of the patient who become very sick, and those who go on the ventilator. Sometimes it may be young also, but we have never come across the child going into the serious because of the corona. So it is the only population which is more than 60 years, which are going to the hospital, landing in the ICU or to the ventilator. And among also there are a subset of the patient who are having some underlying disorder. So that's why doctors are working very hard to find out these subset of the children, subset of the patients who may require more resources. So ultimately the best thing that physical distancing and the hygiene. And now about the emotional well-being of the child, it is affected everywhere. And now the corona has taught us many things about how to maintain the well-being also. Because what happens, we are teaching the students who have come across just passing the 12th class. So they are just a teenager. And we know that the teenager brains or even the adult brain continues to grow up to 25 years of age. So they, what we have seen among these children, in these students, is that we are somehow lacking in our educational process. We are not making them resilient enough to tackle of the stress of the society. We are just concentrating on the more of the stress of the academics. And now we have to also learn, that there are some issues regarding the PIL against the online classes. I think this is because of the immaturity, because we have not learned that the online system is different than the physical class. And online teaching is also one of the art. We cannot teach everything in a similar way as we are doing in the face-to-face class. So that's why, and because we have never trained our teacher how to conduct the online class. At AIIMS Jodhpur, we are conducting online class. With the repeated feedback of the student, we come to know that these are the common problems. So we have reduced the class markedly to 3 hours. And during this 3 hours also, we give enough time for them. So it should not be that the whole of the syllabus should be covered. We should not try to cover the syllabus. Instead, we should use this time for the online for preparing for the better citizen of the country. We have to develop the resilience. We have to develop their qualities. We have to develop the life skills. As Mrs. Sapna also said, that life skills is very important. And because knowledge, we know that corona, we are not knowing anything about the corona about 3 months back. But now we are knowing very much about the corona. And after 5 years, it becomes outdated. So the knowledge becomes rapidly outdated. So we have to develop the habits of lifelong learning among the students. Life skill, moral values, they are more important. Communication skills, they are more important than the academics. And also in the online learning environment, there are certain things which the teacher has to learn, because the students can be of different background. there maybe the students will not be interested in that. So we have to analyze the students' capability, and accordingly we can address those. So I think in the lockdown period, in the 3 months, we have learned how to behave in the house. Now the lockdown has been converted to unlock, and now we have to prepare. And I have to say that at this moment that corona is going to persist for a very longer time. The vaccine is very far away. So only way of getting the immunization is the herd immunity. And unless and until we go out, we'll not get the herd immunity. Unless and until the 60% of the population is affected, will not get the herd immunity. Till then, the transmission, this is highly contagious virus. That is the only thing. And one person who is a positive can infect up to 50,000 of the people.
Oh my.
So that's why the students are very important. They may not suffer the disease, but they carry the virus back home. And if in the home there is elderly people, they can get affected. So that's why the students should be taught at this time how to behave with the corona. That is, what is physical distancing exactly? What is the personal hygiene? When you are going to the school, how you should behave there? How you should talk. I am wearing the mask again because this is very important. If mask wearing should be a habit, it should be at all time, even if you are sitting in front of the computer, because your virus can go down on the keyboard. So that's why we have to take all the precaution. And I think during this period when the students are not going to the schools, we can teach them all these habits, bring about the behavior changes. We have to use the nudging principles, behavioral economics, to change the attitude of the parents as well as the children. And then only we can have the best society. And I think world is looking at India. India is at a crucial stage where we can have we can show to the world that, okay, this is a way how to fight the corona, how to get the children educated, how to keep the talents intact, how to give the opportunities, how to make up the economy, which has been slowed down. So all these things can be learned during this unlock period when the restrictions are there, but they are to a lesser extent. We should go out, but also we should maintain the physical distancing. It should not the social distancing. I think the social distancing is a wrong word, because socially we are all connected. Now we are at Sunday, I'm sitting at home and talking to such a learned audience and learned people from the whole of the India. So I think socially we are again can be connected. So again, socially we have to encourage the children to engage with their friends with the conversation, communication, even with the mobile phone. Simple mobile phone is enough to get the communication on. So I think communication is the one of the most important thing which can decrease the depression. Whatever is happening, it is a good thing. We have to teach everybody in the house that, okay, what is, I think Corona and lockdown was the best period when we have learned so many things. I myself in our class, when we discuss our students, they have learned and gone back to the homes and they are interacting with their parents much more than they would have earlier. I think this
So
is slowing down.
one thing,
Yeah.
would you like to just give 2 points? Such beautifully you have expressed what Corona is. It is in a positive aspect. You have shown it to us that always never see the darker side of it. What all Corona has taught us. So that's an eye opener from your side. That please be positive at all the times. Here we are addressing parents from school, and they must be from KG to 12. Like KG to 12, all classes. So what is the advice would you like to give that sitting at home, what are those things, like you just mentioned that even going to school, they should be taking so many precautions, and school should open or the virus can come on the laptop also. So would you like to give, because we have principals also and directors also, what is the advice with technology and Corona and parenting would you like to give, that we all come on one base to fight it out? And
yeah, very appropriate and apt question at this time, because at home we can teach the students about the best behavior. And one of the things is that hygiene, it is not the sanitizer. The best is the soap and water. If you clean your hands multiple times with soap and water, and you don't touch your eyes, nose, and the mouth with your hand, it can markedly around 99% it can reduce the virus entering your body. Virus just in a body. So any physical body can be a source for the further transmission of the virus. So I think at this time the parents, instead of concentrating too much on the academics, they can concentrate on imbibing those habits, even the moral values, uh, life skills. They can be taught by the parents. Even if they are sitting in the online classes, the teachers should also encourage all these activities, because children learn from the parents and they become the role model also. So if we follow the same principle, like even the hygiene of the phone should be maintained in front of them. So that they also know that, okay, when we go to the school, we have, after touching the handle of the bus, handle of the door, then we have to wash our hand or keep a sanitizer with us. And also when we are interacting with the people, we should keep a distance of at least 1 meter and talk at a distance. We should not come when we are going to the washroom. Also, they have to maintain the hygiene and a physical distancing. They should also develop a habit of maintaining a line and a queue, maintaining of the queue. Because in Indians, there is a habit of that they are bypassing the queues. And sometimes if you know that you go in the marketplace, the people are there standing very close by. And this is a bad habit, which is very good for the virus to get into our body. So if we in the school they go and when they join the school, if they follow these simple principles, distancing, physical distancing, hand washing, and also communicating with their colleagues. And also the teacher should keep in mind that they should not maintain a distance. One teacher should take a class, for whole class should be taken by one teacher only. So multiple teachers should be avoided. And they should, in the front rows, the students should wear the face mask. And the
Thank you
teachers should
so
also
much.
wear the face mask.
That's like there's just going. It's so beautifully you are explaining that we can just go on, and we should take one special session just with Doctor
Yes.
and because there's so much to learn from you. But there are so many questions, so I'm sorry that I'm just interrupting in between. So there's a question from a parent which is talking about the hybrid system. So would you? I would like you to ask this. She's Dr. Shobha Sharma. And Dr. Shobha Sharma, if you could ask this question to Mr. Sarkar, would you like to answer? And Dr. Shobha ji, can you ask this question, please?
Of course.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Dr.
Hello.
Sharma.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I am Dr. Shobha Sharma. I am a child psychologist and I work from AIMS, New Delhi, in the pediatric department. And I am a mother of Agranya Bharadwaj, Arvachin International School. And my question is, to sit for a long time in front of a computer or a mobile phone or any other techniques, it's too hard. Sometimes child get bored and easily get frustrated. And sometimes they have irritation in the eyes also. And
True.
so what should we have? Actually, I am a child psychologist, so I can handle the mental problem, frustration, but I am worried about the physical condition like eyes rashes, irritation in the eyes, and weight. They are getting weight also. So it's very difficult to, I think, should add some class on a physical activity or any suggestion, please advise.
Yeah, thank you. Classes under no circumstances, online classes under no circumstances should be held for more than 3 hours. And that too also not at one go. There has to be a gap after every 40-45 minutes. And during that gap, it is suggested that the child goes and splashes his or her face with water, clean and water. First, it's a break to sanitize your hands, wash your hands with soap and water, and to splash your water with face with cold water. That is first we suggest everybody. And second, to have anti-glare screens, to keep a safe distance away from the screen and sit. If it would be preferred, if the student is not using a mobile phone and instead using a desktop or a laptop, that would be better. And to sit at a distance apart, at least a meter away from the screen, that will be much better. To use an earphone or a headphone so that the child doesn't have to come too close to the screen where he will be exposed to the screen. Splashing of water is important. And as a good habit, these days we are suggesting the parents also to use certain eye drops. not as a medicine, but as a safety, just as a coolant.
Yeah.
But under no circumstances, ma'am, the screen time should exceed 3 hours. And that too also with intermittent breaks and gaps.
Actually,
That
he
is the
is
best
studying
way.
in Arvachin, and teachers are doing very well, and they are giving live example and so on. But still, because students are also suffering these kind of problem in a first time, so it's
Yes.
too difficult to sit a long time. It's too young
How
kids
long?
for 2 years.
How long are your child sitting?
Three hours, at least 3
Is there
hours.
any gap in between? Is there any gap in between? Do they get gaps in
They
between?
give gap, but only 5 to 7 minutes. But 5 to 7 minutes is spent for to set another class or other things. So
No,
it is very difficult.
that is very true. So we always suggest a gap of 15 minutes. That's how we
And
set our timetable.
yeah, and physical activity also can increase. They can give the class
Absolutely,
on a
absolutely,
physically activity so that the child
absolutely.
can get excited and good.
Yes,
And
absolutely. We usually start a day with certain breathing exercise, with certain pranayam, and with
yeah,
certain other life skill like drawing,
yoga classes.
breathing exercises, yoga classes,
Thank you.
a little bit. Our co-curricular activity teachers are quite engaged
Yeah.
in these, conducting in these things. You know, opening the studio up for arts, for music, for physical education. You know, for Zumba, a little bit of pranayam, yoga, breathing exercises. These are very, very effective. But I completely agree with you that there has to be a 15-minute gap in between the classes, and the child should take adequate protection steps in splashing his face with water, cold water, putting an eye drop, and keeping safe distance from the screen. That has to
Yeah.
be maintained.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
hope I've been able to answer you.
Of course,
Yeah.
very
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
You've
much.
not only answered, you've given us beyond those techniques that how to engage, and you've given all the schools also a little bit idea that though they are doing it, but you have just added more that how we can, and you've shown the screen time holding your phone up and down. So the parent is very clear about it. We have another parent who wants to answer about the hybrid system. So Mrs. Manpreet Kaur, so Vivek ji, if you would like to answer about hybrid system, if it is okay with you. And Jyoti ji, Manpreet ji, you can ask the question.
Yeah, basically, Vivek sir, a very famous actor, writer, producer. I'm really happy to see you also. My question was that you beautifully spoke about the, pre-assessment, pre-semester assessment. So that
Pre-semester
seemed to be
learning.
very relevant for the college grades, the ones, who are above 20 or 17. But if I talk about my child who's just 10, so obviously she won't be opting for Coursera. So how can the blended or the hybrid learning help her,
That as a parent, you have to get onto the internet, you have to go to Google, and you have to Google and actually use these words: suitable online courses for 10-year-olds.
Okay.
Google responds to very precise instructions.
Okay.
So when you go to Google and you say suitable courses for 10-year-olds,
Okay.
then that whole list will come up accordingly, and then you can go and check each one of them, and the ones that you find are possibly the best fit for your child in terms of your child's speed of learning, temperament, initiative on what he or she wants to do in the future, you can pick up those courses. What we are doing at Pearl is for our postgraduate and undergraduate students, no doubt about it, but 10-year-olds are going to be those one day. So then the onus comes on you to go to Google and actually figure out what is suitable for your child. So things that are 10-year-old, mostly they won't be on courses. There will be little simple educative tutorials on YouTube itself.
Okay.
Language tutorials so that their language command becomes better. Tutorial that teaches them at 10 years old the value of reading, the value of the knowledge they get when they read, choices of books that they can glue, and all sorts of things can be done for 10 years. You see, because hybrid actually means a combination of online and offline. Blended means a combination of synchronous and asynchronous education. Synchronous education is when they're all in the classroom together. Asynchronous education is when they do Coursera and they can do it at their own time. Blended education that's I'm sorry, hybrid education is when they're doing asynchronous, synchronous, and offline on campus. Now, at the age of 10, I don't think she's in a position to go to any campus. The children are the most vulnerable along with the old people. So you are actually not looking for a hybrid, you're looking for a synchronous as well as an asynchronous model.
Okay.
The synchronous model she's getting from her school, even though there must be vacations now. The asynchronous, what she can do on her own time, is what you will go to Google, you will investigate what is correct for her, you will investigate which one of those tutorials or courses will complement what she's getting from school and become an add-on or a benefit or something that would speed her education when she gets back into class. There are various things. Some of those courses may even be recreational, but keeping them sharp in their heads. And then there could always be one such tutorial which teaches them how to play a musical instrument or teaches them how to learn a new language or teaches them how to use the online modes better. So there are various things.
Thank you so much, Vivekji. I'm sure with this hybrid model and asynchronous and synchronous, which we keep talking about in the trainings to different teachers and parents, you are really privileged to get all these tips, because these are tips which are so valuable, and you're really lucky to get it from such eminent people who are speaking to you. I wish there were more. So there's one more parent who has a question, and I would like Dr. Kuldeep to answer this, because Neha ji, if you would like to put across your question yourself, it would be better. Neha Ravichandran.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to connect. We are the affected parents. I have 2 kids and they both study in Dean's Bangalore, and the online classes have been paused. So because we came to know that the government is planning to restart the school. So now we are concerned as parents because both my kids are like 6 and 8. They are small. They're very young. They're in primary school. Plus, we support the school. We want the classes to continue online because we don't see that this is an option. The other thing is how you as an organization or a channel can support us reach the government, because we have been trying to connect with them on Twitter, everywhere. So yeah, these are my questions. I don't know earlier who has asked these questions. So yeah, could be a repeat as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think this is a very valid question at this time. And as we are learning that sometimes it is creating a lot of screen time for the student because a 4 hour or 5 hours is a huge screen time. And there is an American Academy of Pediatrics as well as Indian Pediatrics also recommend that the screen time should be according to the age. So for a child who is in 6 years old or 8 years old, it should not be more than 2 hours of the screen time, or maximum 3 hours it can go. But if you are conducting a session for 3 hours, the whole of the screen time is used. And then the rest of the time also the students keep on watching the WhatsApp and other things. So ultimately the screen time is huge. So that's why PIL has been launched by the government to the government that there should be some decrease in the screen time and there should be online classes should be reduced. I agree, but they cannot because we have to live with this situation. And I think online class have become a must part of our life. Only thing is that we have to learn the innovations and we have to know the methods, how to use them effectively. And one of the method is the flipped classroom. So what happened in the flipped classroom, that is you give on a first day a small clinical some problems to the child. And he should try to find out the answer from the parents, from the internet, from another source, even the books. And the next day they can have the interaction on that topic. So in that way, the interactivity will be more, the student will enjoy it, and there will be reduced screen time also. Because the student will be listening, they will be just pausing, they will be looking away from the screen. So the screen time is markedly reduced in that sense. So I think as a teacher, and at AIIMS Jodhpur, we have validated this system of flipped classroom. And this flipped classroom enhance the students' engagement and also reduce the screen time. And also it build the knowledge and the skills of the child also. I'm also pediatrician, so I looked into the problems of the children. And the parents are asking this question very frequently. And we conducted a workshop also on the mobile and the screen time and the effect on the child psychology. So I think if we have to use this time effectively, then we need innovation, the teachers training, the skills development among the teacher also, how to conduct such a type of online classes. So they can become more interactive, more useful and effective. And rather than transferring the knowledge, they should be like collaborative in nature, as Mr. Vivek Vaswani also said. So innovations is the buzzword, and the medical education, this educational innovations is another area. So there are educational startups are coming up with innovative technology to reduce the time and also engage the students at the same time.
Okay, so we will be waiting for these innovative technologies which are coming in innovation and education. And I'm so happy that whatever points I cover in my training are all being covered here. And parents, you're so lucky to receive it from the best possible people in every field, I'll say. So I'll take this last question that Elsa Robin Abel Rachel has raised. You would like to address your question, please, Elsa ji?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry
sure,
to-
ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to ask this question to Bhupendra sir. Sir, actually, see, day by day, our children, they are facing some other problem, because of which the main the children, when they sit during the online class, when they were sitting, the teachers were there to monitor them. Now in a nuclear family, you know that parents will be there. So when the parents are there and the parents are busy during the day, the parents are busy. For my child, it has happened for the last 2 days that I had told her to finish with some particular portion, because that is what we used to do earlier. So I have given her some work and I am not there to monitor her. She has slept off nicely for 1 hour. And then in the night, she is having problems sleeping. Because she has slept during the day for more than 1.5 hours, in the night she is not able to sleep. So that is kind of changing her sleeping patterns also. Moreover, she's not getting that interest to study. And especially in Karnataka, they have stopped online classes. My daughter is in 4th grade and online classes are not going on. Neither any video or any other chat or any other interaction is going on with the schools. So children, and when we tell that our children to study, they will not listen. But the same thing, if it comes from a teacher, they will surely listen. That is what I have felt till now, whatever experience I had with my child. If the same thing comes from a teacher, they are much more intent on listening to it rather than coming from a mother. So, sir, I would like to ask how to use this time constructively in such a way that, see, online classes, no doubt, are a boon in a way right now, because the situation has changed a lot compared to our visual classes. The online classes are a foray for now. So right now, according to the scenario, my child is having that particular online time. During that online time, when she is using that online time, she is okay. But afterwards, when I'm trying to make her study something, when I'm not personally monitoring her, how to constructively use that time.
Got it. So
Thanks for the question. As far as I could understand from the question is that everything depends on a habit, ma'am. I do understand you are busy when the online classes are being held. I do understand that your child might have slipped off and slept. She might have missed her classes and slept. And at the same time, she might be feeling sleepy when you have the time to teach her.
It's like online classes are not going on right now. So in the morning time, the time which was supposed to be utilized during that online class, she has slept off because I am not monitoring her personally.
I do understand. You are keeping busy. For that, can you kindly prepare a small routine for yourself and your child where you all can actually, both of you can fit in together? That is one. Number two, another time slot where you are working and your child is doing her work. That is number two. Number three, when your child is unguardedly doing her work and you don't need to bother. And number four is finally working with supervision. That is there. If you're very busy during that time and your child is there with you, why don't you do something? There is always work at home. Why don't you make your child sit in front of you at your workplace and give her some kind of a work which is related to your domestic work? because this pandemic time, we are talking about speaking life skills, right? If you can engage your child in a little bit of your domestic work in a teaching way, like teaching her subject through your domestic work, through your work at your home. If you can think of those things, it will be a really a nice way, engaging the child. Then why don't you find out some time for yourself, kind of, readjust your working schedule to match or to fit into the child's study schedule. What I would advise, do not ask your child to study the entire day. I guess 2 hours in the morning she's a class 4 student, what I can understand. Couple of hours in the morning to
2
keep her
hours they
engaged.
won't sit. That is the main problem, sir.
No, 2
Nowadays
hours in all.
we can't make
2
them
hours in
sit
all.
even for 15 to 20 minutes. Yes.
No, 2 hours in all intermittently. You can make her
Okay.
take a break and all. Half an hour, okay. Then 15 minutes she goes away.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for a very insightful session. I would really appreciate the tips given by Dr. Sarkar, Mr. Subhendu Sarkar, and then tips by Dr. Kuldeep. Thank you very much for that. What I really understand is that I can understand, because into this online scenario, the responsibility of parents is very high. I totally understand and take a lot of notes on it. But at the same time, I would also like to urge schools to reskill teachers, because online classes is not as good as offline classes, because you have got a lot of body language you can see when you are offline. But while in online, you have to engage students, and that's missing today. Because what's happening, they are looking at course to be completed, and I really appreciate Dr. Kuldeep's advice that it should not be course completion, it should be engaging them so that they don't waste time when it is a lockdown, and we can always complete the course. And I think CBSE is also looking at reducing the course, because end of the day, it's not number of chapters you completed, but the time, amount of quality of time you spend and on learning and engaging is more important. So I think schools need little more to reskill teachers, because those teachers are still into their offline mode. They think they have to complete, they have to take presence, and then so they are more engaged into admin activities and then completing the syllabus rather than engaging the students. And that has been the biggest challenge. And when I see all parents, believe me, irrespective whether we are working or not, them, it's not going to serve the purpose, because engagement has to be with the teacher rather than any person sitting next to it. So what is your advice, Dr. Kuldeep? And I would urge schools, and if you take for that, to take up to the schools and reskill teachers, because it's a time to reskill. I can tell you, the world will not fall if we don't complete the syllabus. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th standard, nothing is going to happen. I don't remember my marks of those standards. So my question to Dr. Kuldeep.
I am trying to look for. I am a father of two sons, between age group 5 to 13. So my question is primarily from that perspective. They are still making sense of right or wrong, and we are kind of teaching them, and they are listening it through different channels. About social distancing and some kind of distress factor that is creeping into these children nowadays. So what is the implication of this this social distancing, as well as moving from high-touch personalized learning that we used to have in classrooms to maybe once school open, we may go to switch to 1 meter safe distance learning, right? So how is what will be the long-term psychological impact on the children of this age going to be, and how as a parent we can help them basically at this situation, so that their learning process and their outlook to society remains positive.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is actually what I have found. My son, I found him offing the video and looking here and there. And when I came and saw him, and he was like, Mama, I don't understand what ma'am is teaching. So how we should cope up with the situation? Because it is very difficult that after the 3 to 4 hours online classes, we sit with them for 1 or 2 hours and make them understand the same topic which is taught in the class. I'm finding it little difficult, because we are in joint family and I have a very big schedule. So I got struck sometimes. So please guide me on that.
Kuldeep sir. Yeah,
Yes,
I
Dr.
will.
You're a teacher also, doctor also, you can answer
Yeah,
all the questions.
yeah, I think these are very good questions, and in fact, these are challenging time. But one thing is clear that all these things are happening for the positivity. So all these things are happening because we have been overburdening our students in the school. So now this time has taught everybody, even the laymen, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, the schools, the institute, the government, a very good lesson that we have to pause, we have to stop, we have to think, and then we have to act. This is the one of the important principle. And it is not that the online learning has come for the first time in the world. It was happening for the last 30, 40 years. And they were facing all these problems. They were experimenting, they are validating, they are doing the research on that, which type of online learning works best. And that's why, because for this coronavirus and COVID-19, it has created a new opportunity for everybody. So that's why it is a learning process for everyone. And I think online class cannot be the same as the physical class. And we have to learn that the online class needs a totally different set of expertise. At AIMS Jodhpur, we have connected about all the students from the first semester to the final year MBBS. So there are around 500 students, and we have also connected the AIMS Gorakhpur with us. Later on, we connected all the medical college of the Rajasthan, and now we are offering to the 1 lakhs people through the YouTube also. And what we have learned is that हमने जो word use किया जरा सी मदद, actually क्या है online education के लिए there is a need for like expertise and some guidance. So whatever the online classes are being conducted at AIMS, they are in the lecture theatre. So there is a team of dedicated faculty members who are guiding each and every faculty how to conduct the class, how to log in, how to conduct the class, and what the duration should be, how the presentation should be there. And gradually they are adapted to that situation. But now what is happening in the schools is that the people are taking the classes from their home. So there's nobody to guide them about the technical issues. So that's why if we can have some group which can guide technical points, and very small technical points are required in the online education. And as parents have understood that there is a drifting also occurs when the students are there in the class, and when they are online, they start drifting to another subject. And they jump from one to other, then to the videos, to another videos. Now, this is a normal phenomena. As a psychology, we know that whenever these are presented to students, we have to teach the student how to get more focus. Again, there is some innovation is required also on that part also, so we can restrict the screen time. At AIMS Jodhpur, we are also having the schools attached to our institute, and we are conducting regular sessions on the various aspects of the health education. So that's why we have learned that how the student behave and what are the things which are required for them. And I think this is another topic which is can be taken separately. That is how to conduct a online class which is engaging, and also at the same time give the moral values, and also give the information which is which can start the base of the child to the next level. That also we have to think. So that's why online education should not be exactly equated to the physical class.
Here
and the
I would
physical
just
distancing is very important.
Here, I would just like to address the parents and just tell them that yes, there were some tough times which the teachers, because I'm being a teacher and a trainer, and from this part of society, what Dr. Sir is saying, that yes, dear parents, whatever little bit, because this was the testing time for teachers also, so everybody was trying their best to give it. There may be some nuts and bolts here and there which were not fitted properly, which did not go well with the students. Believe it, because since I'm into training and I'm seeing that within these 2 months, the amount of training the schools have undergone for the teachers, the kind of training, the schools are building their systems, they're making it so robust now that whatever, because that's why it is what Pranav ji has done is this is more a feedback form for us, because if your feedback is so important, that with your feedback, every school, every parent with their feedback, every school is working day and night to train their teachers, to train their staff and the management, and make the system, because this is going to be the real world, as everybody here has said. So whether Vivek ji and Dr. ji or Shubhendra Sarkar ji or Jyoti ji, everyone in the institute and along with many other institutes, I would like to just say that trainings are going on. Teachers are being trained for online teaching, and from July onwards, you will see a different change. They will be more clued to what to do, what not to do, because this was just given to them there was no notice given to them. Yes, parents, we are so glad that you joined us, because it's very important to take your perspective, because we as educators are all the time working day and night to make the system more robust and more to do. There's no looking back. We are just going forward. And the platform which EduTV has given to parents, and I just wish them all success, and we want that more and more parents should come and just voice their opinion, so that we have eminent people coming and addressing them that yes, there is so you know that what is going on behind the scene, and not only your school but other schools also. So we are so happy that you joined us today for this session, and we are so honored to have Vivek sir, we have Subhendu Sarkar and Dr. Kuldeep and Jyoti ji to join us for this session and give the insight of what's happening in their system and around their system, and just give us a little bit booster to all the parents, so that please be safe, and your children will be safe, and with such discussions only the white paper will come out. And trust me, just be positive and be resilient. Thank you so much.